on with breaking news that's just come in with regards to Bihar elections. The Election Commission will be holding a press conference to announce the dates. So Bihar election dates are to be announced close to 4 p.m. this evening is what we're learning in the latest. So Bihar poll dates will be announced at 4 p.m. That's the latest bit of breaking news update coming in. So the stage is set for Battle Bihar, going across to Arunima, Pallavi, Payal, Aman, all of them joining us with more details. Arunima, to you first, tell us a little bit about, what are we to expect as on expected lines, because the Election Commission officials were in the state of Bihar over the weekend is when they were to finally come out with the election schedule. What are we to expect the next few hours?
Only the two things that all political parties and stakeholders will be watching out for. Number one, how many phases? Will it be a single phase election as is being demanded by the ruling side? NDA's lead constituent JDU has insisted that because the law and order situation in Bihar is much better than previously, it should be a single phase election. It has the support of the Bharatiya Janata Party as well. The other political parties also from the opposition rank have not really protested. They all are agreeing more or less on a shorter duration of election. So a three-phase election that we saw last time around, indications are perhaps that the Election Commission could reconsider it. Whether it will be single phase or not, that will be the key question. Single phase would mean historic. The other thing to watch out for would be how soon around Chhath will you hold these elections. If you're going to hold this immediately after Chhath, then there is one sense that the migrant population of Bihar, all of them come back home from Delhi, from Mumbai, from Bengaluru, Chennai, all across the country. They come back home to celebrate Chhath. So if you're going to hold it around that time, 28th is when the final arg of Chhath is. So if you're going to hold it within the first week of November or first 2-3 days of the new month, these migrant laborers will get a chance to vote. So there's a lot of stake for political parties to ensure that the migrant laborers, migrant population of Bihar votes. So those are the two things that the press conference will be watched keenly for: number of phases and how close to Chhath.
Okay. Stay on with us, Arunima. Pallavi Ghosh is with us on the broadcast too. Aman, Payal, we'll come to you in just a bit. Pallavi, tell us a little bit about how you see this, especially given the several details which were shared by the Chief Election Commissioner while holding that press conference. A very interesting aspect which has been shared, discussed already is whether or not elections will happen right after Chhath Puja, which is also something that's been demanded by several political representatives through the engagements that the Election Commission panel had in Bihar. Tell us more about what you made of that press conference.
Well, I mean, more than that, I think these Bihar elections are definitely going to be a lot of eye-catcher because of the simple reason that this is going to be the first state election which is going to be held after the SIR issue became a national issue. So it's going to be a litmus test for all, certainly for the Election Commission, because the Election Commissioner and his team have repeatedly, through multiple notifications, clarifications, and the press conferences, have also made the point that SIR is a natural exercise. This voter realignment, voters list being updated, doesn't have to have a conspiracy angle behind it. One should not strip any conspiracy behind it. It's important to have those kind of SIR or revision exercises to take place. But politically speaking, it is going to be a litmus test for Rahul Gandhi's voter Adhikar Yatra. Remember, the biggest campaign which is being run by the Congress party is that of how there has been a denial of democratic rights for the people. Even when Rahul Gandhi was in Colombia recently, he made this larger point that how democracy has died in our country. And he says this because elections are compromised. That is why he carried out over 1,800 kilometers of voter Adhikar Yatra to make the point that a voter's right to the people of Bihar is being taken away. So that is going to be a litmus test. Should the Congress plus the RJD combined lose the elections, I would see that a huge setback to this narrative which is being pushed in by the India bloc, but more specifically by Rahul Gandhi plus the Congress party. But on the other hand, if they win the elections, then of course they're going to say, look, we told you so. But I would see that also as an egg on the face moment a bit, because then the Election Commission will say, you made such a hue and cry about it, but look what has happened. Of course, if the Congress party loses the elections, the BJP plus the Election Commission, but the BJP more would make the larger point, really, Christine, is that, you cry foul. When you win elections, you don't have a problem. When you lose elections, you're starting to make an excuse. So for me, as a watcher, for me as a journalist, I would look at the Bihar elections as a huge litmus test as far as the entire politics around the SIR issue is concerned.
Okay, stay on with us, Pallavi. Aman, tell us a little bit about the political fireworks, if at all, were witnessed during the Election Commission's official visit to Bihar. 2 days, we saw several announcements also take place. 17 initiatives were announced by the Chief Election Commissioner. He did come in briefly on the entire controversy around Aadhaar as proof of citizenship or birth. Given that, did we hear any political commentary, if at all, any back and forth through these 2 days when the Election Commission panel was in the state?
Well, Kitshwin, as Pallavi was explaining, of course, the opposition has not been happy with the SIR exercise. About 68 lakh people, being excluded from the electoral roll, from the last electoral roll in net after the additions, the number still comes up to around 48 lakh. So that's a very, very big number. We still don't know how many of these are deceased, how many of these are actually migrants who shifted their vote out and living at other places and not in Bihar, who were actually the immigrants against whom, this whole drive was aimed at. So we don't know that. Of course, the opposition will drum up that issue a big way in the elections. The vote adhikar yatra of be it Rahul Gandhi and Tejaswi Yadav taking out together, then Tejaswi Yadav going on a yatra himself. This has been the moot point, that vote is being stolen and the BJP is winning elections through that. That is a big claim of the RJD and the Congress party. But that said, I think the Election Commission of India's press conference yesterday did give many answers when the CEC said that even before 10 days of the last nominations being filed, anybody can still file objections if they find their name excluded, be it any political party or an individual. So I think that window has still been left open. Let's see what happens the next 2-3 weeks when this window will still remain open. The other point, I think very important, the less number of phases, which Arunima was saying. In 2010 Bihar Assembly elections, the state polled in 6 phases. In 2015, the state polled in 5 phases. In the last election in 2020, the state polled in 3 phases. Now what is being spoken about is either a 1-phase election or maximum a 2-phase election, which RJD is saying, or 1-phase election, which the BJP and the JDU is saying. That is a remarkable change when it comes to the state of Bihar. Bihar has been infamous in the past for all this, ballot stealing and, vote tampering and all that which used to happen in Bihar elections. They're infamous for that. But now the political parties, even the BJP and the JDU themselves, are saying that the state has changed. Why can't we go to 1 phase of election like Karnataka does, like Maharashtra does, big state like Maharashtra, which is equivalent almost to, Bihar, if say population or area wise. So that is, I think, going to be a big takeaway today from the press conference, if the Election Commission indeed goes for a single phase or even a 2-phase election.
Okay. Payal, can you come in on that and emphasize a little bit on the other demands that have been put forth by the BJP? So interactions have happened the last 2 days while the Election Commission panel was in the state with political stakeholders, including the Bharatiya Janata Party. The state BJP chief had put forth certain demands which he spoke of in public domain as well. One is, of course, which Arunima and Aman were highlighting, that the election be held in a single or 2 phases. The other was also tallying of faces of voters. Tell us a little bit about the concerns flagged by the Bharatiya Janata Party in front of the EC panel.
Well, the Bharatiya Janata Party, in particular or in principle, has been in favor of the SIR drive because they feel very, very clearly, and you've seen Amit Shah also speak about this in multiple rallies, that the whole idea of this should have been that, the illegal voters and the illegal, people who are not eligible to vote should be mooted out as well. So all steps in that direction need to be taken. That has been the principal demand as far as the BJP is concerned. Like everybody's been talking on the fact that the BJP wants a single phase election. They do not want a very long election. They do understand that the law and order situation is a much improved one. Earlier, when there was not the case, then Bihar would have multiple phase election as well. But the BJP is all in favor of a single phase election, and they do understand that calling out the election commission by the opposition parties is not really clue as well. And we've also seen how politics has panned out over the entire matter, with the fact that you've seen a constant face-off happen between the opposition and the BJP. In fact, the entire monsoon session of Parliament was lost because of the fact that the opposition wanted a discussion on the election commission's working, and that was not going to be allowed, and that was not allowed as well. So the BJP is all in favor of having a free and fair election to make sure that all the eligible voters are there, and therefore multiple demands that have been made before the election commission to see how that can be how that can be made possible, including the fact that they asked for tallying of these faces like you're just speaking about.
Okay. Stay on with us, Payal. Arunima, if I can come to you and try and take in a guess from you, given the 28-day mandatory gap between the announcement and the first day of voting, and how we've heard several political representatives speak of how it should be immediately after the Chhat Puja, so on and so forth. What's your guess there? What's that window we're looking at in terms of poll dates?
See, simply from the date that the model code of conduct is coming in, and the day on which the assembly should be formed, 22nd of November is when the Bihar Assembly's tenure ends. So effectively, by the 16th or the 17th, you should be announcing the winner and the loser. So the counting should get over by the mid of November. So if mid-November you want to complete counting, maximum you can push the polling start is first week of November. And like I have been telling you, Chhath is a big deal for Bihar. So doing any election-related exercise around Chhath, during Chhath, will be very logistically very challenging. Plus there is Diwali. You do not want to bother people. The BLOs have played a huge role, and Election Commission acknowledged their role at the press conference yesterday. All of the booth level officers were brought in and their efforts were acknowledged. But you can't really expect these government officials to give up their festivals like Diwali, like Chhath, and contribute. So my guess then is that this election will, in all likelihood, start in the very first week of November. If it is spreading into two phases, then in a gap of 3 days or 4 days, the two phases can be held. If it's a single phase, perhaps in the later half of the first week of November, elections can be held.
Okay, we're not too far away from actually pinning a nail on those dates. So we'll come back to you as and when we do hear from the Election Commission officially. But Aman, let's once again touch upon the SIR issue. That's been one of the key issues raised by the Mahagathbandhan all through the voter Adhikar rally, which is also going to be a litmus test for the Mahagathbandhan. And how effective really have they been in this campaign in Bihar? But what is the pointed clarification that came in from the Chief Election Commissioner while he addressed that press conference? Because like we've been discussing, RJD, Congress have been up and about in raising these issues with the Election Commission, accusing the Bharatiya Janata Party and the ND of colluding with the Election Commission.
Well, Kritsvi, not just yesterday. I think over the last 1 month, ever since this SIR exercise in fact began, the EC has been very clear that they are doing a constitutionally mandated exercise. They are doing this to weed out illegal voters, people who are no longer should be on the voter roll because they are dead or they have moved permanently to another state. It's a cleanup of the electoral roll, and this is not just going to happen in Bihar. It's going to next happen in West Bengal, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, in fact across the country, because it's an exercise which has also been much due. But of course, this exercise took a political turn. We saw even Tejashwi Yadav, the RJD leader, at one point of the point saying he is thinking of boycotting the polls because of the SIR exercise. Of course, he's not following up on that, and he will be, of course, fighting the polls. But the RJD and the Congress have tried to, cash in on this issue, go to the people and say, see, your vote is getting cut because you are our voter, and the BJP is in collusion with the ECI in certain manners. I don't know how much it has registered on the ground. When we begin our ground coverage at CNN News 18 of the Bihar elections and go to the ground and speak to the people, we may be able to get a better view of that. But so far, as per empirical evidence, learning from especially BJP leaders, they don't feel that this is having much resonance on the ground, because the SIR exercise is now over. There have been no major protests in Bihar by people that, their vote has been cut. So there is no great resonance the BJP feels on the ground, while the Congress and the RJD is really hoping that this issue turns the tide for them, because BJP, JDU, Chirag Paswan, Jatin Ram Manjhi, Upendra Kushwaha, these 5 parties together on the NDA side is a very potent caste combination in Bihar. It is very difficult to defeat such a caste coalition. Yes, the RJD and the Congress are together. There's a Muslim Yadav vote on this side. But that side, the caste combination, especially the EBC voter, becomes very strong to counter for any other alliance. So that is why I think both the Tejashwi Yadav and Rahul Gandhi have tried to hammer a lot, I would say, on this SIR issue. It remains to be seen whether this issue will have the kind of resonance that they are hoping on the ground.
Okay, we're also looking at another development which will take place before 4 p.m, which is the key announcement that's to come in from Chief Minister Nitish Kumar. Arunima, throw some light on that. 2 major SOPs for Bihar will be announced by the Chief Minister, and that's expected to take place close to 11 a.m. Patna Metro operations and also CM's Women Employment Scheme.
Yes, just cutting it fine, because the model code of conduct will get implemented as soon as the election dates are announced. So you can't really announce any other scheme, and therefore you saw the Prime Minister over the weekend announcing big ticket, goodies for the Bihari voter, and now Chief Minister Nitish Kumar following it through. Patna Metro, a key infrastructural project, and this has been a plank for JDU and BJP to beat the anti-incumbency charge. saying that infrastructure development has really been brought in to Bihar. Every time a bridge fell in Bihar and opposition raised fingers at Nitish Kumar, they would also point out, JDU and BJP would point out to the road infrastructure, the connectivity that has been brought in. North Bihar, one of the most underdeveloped areas of Bihar. It has better infrastructure now. Patna Metro is a showcase project as well. Plus, you also have to keep in mind that the two, constituencies which are, everybody is looking at. A, women voters, traditionally considered Nitish Kumar's vote bank. Sharab Bandi was his way of reaching out to the women voters of Bihar. There are, of course, divergent views. Nitish Kumar is convinced it worked. His critics say that it has only led to more black marketing. But women voters have stood with Nitish Kumar, especially on the issue of Sharab Bandi. So any extra money in the pocket of women, we've seen in Madhya Pradesh, we've seen in Maharashtra, it has worked. Will it work for Bihar, for NDA as well? That's one key question. Second is youth. MY combination for RJD was Muslim and Yadav. But the real MY in Bihar seems to be Mahila and Yuva. How is this MY combination going to really work in Bihar? Is the Yuva going to forget the unemployment that it is facing and give NDA another chance? Well, Nitish Kumar is definitely hoping that with all these SOPs getting announced, he will be able to beat the incumbency once again.
Many thanks, Arunma, for joining us with all those details. Well, 4 p.m. is when we will officially hear from the Election Commission on the dates for Bihar polls. It's a non-stop coverage here on CNN News 18.